Hello, darling viewers. It's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm doing another Top 5 Wednesday. This topic is our top 5 creepiest settings. So this is actually last week's topic because, life kind of happened. But I also really enjoyed this topic, so I hope you guys will still enjoy it. So my first pick for creepy setting is the Forbidden Forest in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. This is book 2, and the Forbidden Forest does show up in the other books. We're first introduced to it in book 1, but I think in book 2 it becomes its absolute creepiest, as it is the home to the giant spiders. Not just a few giant spiders, mind you, but like an entire freaking colony of spiders. It is so bad that when I first read this book, I blocked out the vast majority of spiders and was imagining like 5, 10 spiders most. In my mind, they were a lot smaller, like the size of, tables. Actually, they're the size of like freaking houses, apparently, having watched the movies. And there were apparently dozens and dozens and possibly hundreds of them. Yeah. So this setting creeped me out so much that I actually blocked out how bad it was. Yeah. Thanks, movie, because I totally needed to be reminded of exactly how terrifying this last scene is. In case you guys can't tell, I am not a fan of spiders. So my second pick for creepy setting is Manderley from Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. In this book, we have the De Winter household. The first Mrs. De Winter, Rebecca, has died, and Maxim has remarried the second Mrs. De Winter. And as the second Mrs. De Winter moves into the house, she cannot shake the feeling of Rebecca's presence. The house just permeates Rebecca. The staff love her rooms aren't touched, and it just feels haunted, like Rebecca's there. And the house is so creepy in the way it's described, and like you feel like there's somebody there watching you. And yeah, Manderley is creepy, guys. It is creepy as heck. The house becomes like its own freaking character in this story. Not cool. My third pick is the Arctic Tundra scenes from Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This book is pretty creepy in general. We have Dr. Victor Frankenstein reanimating a dead corpse and bringing it to life and creating his infamous creature. The scenes in his laboratory and the castle and even the woods are creepy as heck. Don't get me wrong. This is a creepy story. For some reason, the Arctic scenes creeped me out the most. So the entire book is told from Victor Frankenstein retelling the story to this ship that he has gotten passage from. And they're like this Arctic science expedition. And you know that somewhere out there on the tundra is the creature, and he could appear at any moment, and it's really creepy. They're isolated, there's nowhere to go for help. They're also in danger of dying from the elements themselves, so there's just this idea that anything could happen, you could die at any time. Also, this is generally a part of the book that is not depicted in movies. So honestly, when I read this book the first time, I didn't know what was going to happen. This is like beyond what happens in the movie, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen with Monster. Is the monster actually going to come and kill them? I had no idea. I found that particularly scary and creepy. The isolation of it, the elements, the looming monster that could appear at any time to kill you all. Yeah. Next up, I have The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. This takes place in a man's house, and he has committed a murder and stuffed the body under the floorboards of the house. And I think the cops show up basically to kind of ask him, what happened? Is everything okay? What's going on? And basically the guy seems like he could get away with it. Like they don't have any proof that he did the murder, but the guy is paranoid and he hears this heart beat underneath the storage, just like beating away, and it's driving him crazy. And he's so paranoid that he's going to get caught that it's just like this looming tension in the story. I don't know if it necessarily counts as the setting for this book, but like this heart under the floorboards And the way that Poe describes it and the words he uses is so freaking creepy. I mean, honestly, a vast majority of Poe's stories could have counted for creepiest setting, but the Telltale Heart is the one that kind of creeps me out the most and lingers with me. Like, I still remember reading this story and freaking out about it. My last pick for creepy setting is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. These are horror comics from Archie. Writing and art is by Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa and Robert Hack. The entire premise of this story is creepy. So we have Sabrina, a teenage witch growing up in the 60s. She's raised by her aunts Hilda and Zelda, and also this warlock who's being punished and stuck as a cat, Salem. This entire story is creepy. They're Satan worshippers. Sabrina's father conjures Satan and actually talks to him, which is pretty creepy. We also have the fact that the witches, eat corpses and use actual body parts in their spells. Kind of a creepy thing to think about. I have to say that the woods are probably the creepiest setting in the story, though. There's a scene where we have a couple of witches out in the woods messing about and trying to outdo each other, and they end up conjuring this ex-witch, Madame Satan, who comes back to haunt Sabrina. But, the entire scene with the conjuring and Madame Satan coming back from the dead is super creepy. There's also Sabrina's, initiation into the coven, where she has to, kill a goat or something, I think. And, the entire coven meeting in the woods is also super creepy. They're isolated and dark, and just all kinds of bad things happen there, and you can just feel it in the writing and in the art. Here's kind of an image of the woods in their very dark paleness. It's October, so yeah. Not my favorite. So those were my top 5 creepy settings in books. Let me know in the comments below what your creepiest book settings are, and if you agree or disagree with me on any of these. Were any of these really scary, or any of these not that terrifying to you? I think with a lot of these, that is not just, it's not just the setting themselves, but the way that the setting adds to the story and the creepiness and the horror of what's already happening that really makes or breaks the book for me. As always, the complete list of books that I've talked about is in the description below, as well as links to any book reviews that I've done for these. So peace out, I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye!